All right, welcome back to another episode of Florida Media Friend Zone. Today we have Chad Caruso, who you might have known. He's been in the news recently for skateboarding across America. Welcome, Chad. How are you been?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Glad for coming this morning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's also so everybody knows it's like I was here at 9 a.m. and I'm not a morning person, so this is usually everything here is done at night, but.
Yeah,
thanks, Chad and JR for getting me up at 7:30.
Yeah, sorry, I'm early bird.
It's okay. It's all right. But listen, tell me a little bit about the journey across America. I know you've been on the news, you've been on other podcasts.
Yeah.
Give me just the quick stats, because riding like a regular skateboard across the country is kind of like mind blowing to me, because you're not on a long board. You're not on a cruiser. You're just like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little different.
It's very different.
Yeah. So, forget when I started. I think it was the end of March. I left California, headed to Virginia Beach on a 57-day journey across the country. I did 50 miles minimum every single day and did the whole skate for charity.
That's so crazy. Yeah. I don't want to get too much into that, but just the thought of that, because like being younger and skateboarding and like, I guess just going around town or skating into the city from Long Island, it's just like, thinking about doing that now in my late age, and you just went across the entire country is kind of crazy. But for charity, which charity was promoting or?
Yeah, it's called Natural High.
Okay.
So they encourage kids to find a passion, something to focus on rather than drugs and alcohol.
You're now sober?
Yep.
I mean, do you want to talk to us a little bit about, I don't know, dealing with, alcoholism, I guess.
Yeah.
And, what
Definitely.
it means to you. And
yeah, I've been sober almost 7 years now. So I had some knee injuries. that kind of started the whole thing. Tore my ACL and PCL on my left knee.
Okay.
And it kind of knocked me out, knocked some steam out of me, but I was like ready to come back, healed up, excited to skate again. And then some kid knocked into me at the skate park and tore my MCL on the same knee.
Really?
So that kind of like knocked the wind out of me. And that kind of set me into my spell of drinking, not really caring about anything. And that lasted a few years. I tend to do things pretty extremely, as you could tell by the skate across America.
Right.
So, yeah.
What was the turning point, I guess, when it came to like, the drinking? What like caused it to stop, or like what was like the rock bottom moment you hit?
Well, I had 2 DWIs. So that was kind of...
That'll do it.
Yeah, that was, the first one I kind of just shook off. I was like, I don't care. Like, whatever. It's just, a little bit of money. I don't, just keep behaving the way I am.
Right.
The second one, I was going in the debt, borrowing money from people. So once it started affecting people's lives around me, because I never cared about like my own life or what I was messing up for myself.
Right.
Started borrowing money from my mom, girlfriend, just friends. That's when I was like, all right, something's got to change.
I mean, was there anyone there to like wake you up? Like, what was like, it was just like a borrowing money situation. You were just like,
yeah. I think it was really just that. I hated that I was affecting other people's lives and putting them in a difficult situation,
right,
for something they didn't do. You know what I mean?
Right. That'll do it.
Yeah. So, yeah, but no one was really, I didn't go to meetings or anything like that. I had no other friends that were sober. And I even just kept hanging out with the same friends, still going to the bar till 4 a.m., driving everyone around. I just wouldn't drink.
That's pretty interesting, because normally, people they have to like take themselves like out of that element, but you were able just to kind of.
Yeah, it didn't bother me. Once I like snap into a mode, I was just completely done with it. And it almost helped going out to the bar sober, because then I would see people just obliterated, spending like 8 hours at just talking, standing around, and I'm like, this is what I was doing all this time.
That's really crazy.
Yeah.
You were able just to quickly cold turkey, like just turn it around.
Cold turkey. So I did cold turkey for the first year, and then I hit a year, and then went back to drinking. Thought I was fine.
Right. Yeah, I could have one.
And I slowly, 1 drink, 2 drinks, you're hanging out, you're behaving, and then 3 months later, you're right back, or at least I was right back to the same mode.
Right.
Maybe even worse, because you're trying to like catch up.
Interesting.
On what you missed out on.
And then you just clicked out of it again.
Yeah. And then I think, then I got the second DWI and then just snapped out of it.
Huh. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Because we we used to do a sober show here, so like hearing all these stories. But that's like, there was one other guy like that. He was able just to like wake up that one morning and just like say, you know, I'm done.
Yeah.
And he was able just to turn his life around, like just.
Yeah, it's from the people I talk to, it's not that common. Normally,
Right.
like they don't even want to be around it.
Right.
But I don't know, it's not really sustainable if you're that sensitive to it. I feel like if someone comes across you with a drink, you're like at the will of like everyone around you. You're just gonna,
Right.
you know what I mean? If you just learn to accept it, understand it, and like process it in a different way, it's, you know, affects you less in the long term.
That's pretty awesome. Are you a Capricorn?
No.
Okay.
Pisces.
All right, I'm just
think,
scared.
yeah.
I don't know. They say Capricorns can like let go of things very easily, so you know,
Yeah.
I don't know.
No.
All right. Well, listen. When it comes to skateboarding, I mean, what was like I guess some of your earliest memories of like starting to skateboard, or like what even you think got you into it?
I think it was when I was about 2 or 3 years old. My older brother, he's what, 44, something like that, 46. I probably should know my brother's age.
Yeah, it's
but
all right. My brother doesn't know my age.
He would fire me down my cousin's driveway, upstate New York. It's like a huge downhill driveway. He'd sit me on this board and fire me down the driveway, go like rolling into the woods. So I think that like adrenaline, like planting the seed that young, once I got older, like 12, 14, and I started seeing skateboarding pop up, that's when it like clicked. It felt natural, something I wanted to do.
That's pretty cool. Do you think he was firing you down the hill because he loved you or because he hated you?
A little bit of both, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Like, what was like one of your first like big tricks you landed? Like do you have like memories like being stoked, like you finally landed a certain trick or?
Trying to think. I mean, I'd say probably a varial flip. I learned that before a kick flip. For some reason, I couldn't keep the board straight.
Right.
So it turning helped me land that. So kind of like my first flip trick. Yeah.
How about like a trick that you never could really get or took you a long time to get? Like for me, I still could never land an impossible. I must have tried.
I still can't.
I must have tried that trick 1,000 times. I just gave up on it.
Roy, who you had on as a guest, he tried to teach me that, but still can't do it.
It's funny. Roy taught P-Rod while he was here.
Yeah, I saw that video.
Yeah, he taught him how to do an impossible.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Maybe he should do an impossible clinic and we both could show up. So today, I mean, where are you like in the world of skateboarding today? Like, what are you doing? Are you teaching or are you mentoring?
I mean, right now I'm not doing too much except working on the book I've been writing.
Okay.
So I finished the Skate Across America, started a nonprofit and working on a book. So things more behind the scenes. Haven't really been making too many videos.
Tell me about your nonprofit actually, because we were talking about that a little bit before.
Yeah. So I haven't even announced it yet. This is the first talking about it, but it's
well, you don't have to announce it. Maybe you could
let's do it. Yeah, it's called the Mini Ramp Foundation. So my goal is to fill in all the gaps around the United States with mini ramps instead of like huge skate parks. A little more practical. Just kind of, filling in where there's like 100-mile gap, you plop a mini ramp right in between.
In Long Island, how many mini ramps are around these days? Because I'm not really in the scene. But I know there's Long Beach has a new skate park. They have like a bowl and some other stuff.
Yeah.
But like,
there's not too many. I mean, maybe a handful. But like say you're out in Greenport, which is like East End, and then you got the next park is Northport. I think that's like 50 miles, 100 miles in between parks. So all those people there, it's like, those kids, they're not going to be able to get there when you're young.
Right.
So putting the ramp in between there could really help a lot of kids.
Have you spoken to any, have you gotten to the point where you're talking to any towns yet? Or
I just formed it, but I've been working, getting skate parks built for the past few years. I got Tanner Skate Park open, which is like my hometown 20 years ago.
Okay, yeah.
Recently, now it's getting renovated. So I've been talking with them. So I'm in contact with the town a lot. So hopefully that helps with, the segue into the nonprofit.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure. Are you giving them any consulting them on the design of the park at least? Or?
Surprisingly, they're 100% down. They want to hear all my feedback, and I worked with the skate park company and designed the park. So
wow,
they understood that they don't really, that's not their forte.
Yeah, I know.
Sometimes they don't, and they just take it upon themselves, and then you spend $500,000 and you got this thing that's not that great,
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Because I know in Long Beach, I forgot the name of the company, but it was I think it was like a California-based company. They designed the whole park, and then I feel like some of the kids didn't want some of the features that were in the camp. They wanted more of like, so.
Yeah, it's different. You realize different areas have different, skaters have different interests. So if you're not talking with them, it could definitely be a disconnect.
Right. Like I lived in Queens at the time, so I was definitely more street.
For sure.
Than I was. Like I'm horrible at anything with a ramp or any. I remember I tried to drop into a vert ramp when I was when I was like 15. My mom took I don't even remember the name of the skate park she took me to. It was on Long Island.
Okay.
But it had to be in the 90s. And I was like, I want to try ramp. So I dropped into like this little mini ramp, and then I walked up to the top of this vert ramp, and I was like, I'm going to die.
It's probably Greenport. It's one of the only vert ramps on Long Island.
It was so long ago, and I remember looking down at this thing, and I was like, there's no way this is going to happen.
Yeah. When you're up there, it's pretty gnarly. You're looking straight down. It almost looks like it curls in. You're like, how am I going to stick to that wall?
Yeah, at that point, I was like, let's just go back to Queens, and let me just grind some bus stops.
Concrete, stay on the ground.
Yeah. Exactly. Who have you met, like, in the world of skating so far? Like, anybody notable you want to talk about? Or
Yeah, I mean, after the Skate Across America, a bunch of people were reaching out on Instagram, or I did Hawk vs. Wolf podcast, so meeting Tony Hawk was pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. I'd say Tony Hawk's probably the most notable one.
How is he?
He's exactly like you'd imagine. Like any video you've ever seen, he's like even keel, just like the same way across the board.
That's so funny.
Yeah, which is cool.
When Roy or when Jason was in here, I was talking to him about. Ever seen the movie Gleaming the Cube?
Surprisingly, all the skaters probably gonna hate me for this, but I'd never seen that movie.
He never saw it either. But then after I brought it up to him, and then I think we were talking about Tony Hawk also, that I went back and I watched it, and Tony Hawk is in the movie.
Really?
And he works for Pizza Hut, and he's driving the Pizza Hut delivery truck.
That's funny.
So you got to watch it.
When did that come out? Like late 90s?
I think maybe even late 80s.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't get into it till like late 90s, early 2000s, so.
Yeah, I'm definitely dating
my time.
I'm dating myself. But yeah, so if Jason's watching this, it was Tony Hawk driving the Pizza Hut truck.
That's awesome.
I guess, I don't know, anything else you want to add? I'm kind of like, I didn't get to do enough research on you before you came in.
Yeah. I mean, the main thing that we've been talking about on the podcast I've been on is the Skate Across America. So I don't know if any questions about that.
I don't know. I feel like you might be tired of talking about all that stuff. But I mean, any like cool moments along the journey? I mean, anything you want to like?
I mean,
the whole journey must have been crazy because I did a little read up. You had some bad weather, and then you had this, and I don't know. That whole journey, just to me, I would like to try it, but on an electric board.
Yeah. Well, there's one guy, Jack Smith.
Okay.
So Jack was the initial guy who skated across America in 1976. He had two other people with him, so they kind of relayed.
Okay.
So he did 30 miles, another guy did 30. Like that was the format they used.
Got it.
But back then, that was like, groundbreaking. And he recently did electric skateboard like 5-10 years ago.
Really?
I think he was over 50 too, 60. So I have to get you out there. I think you could do it.
Interesting. I wonder how.
You got 2 months to throw.
Yeah,
take off. Yeah.
Wow. He already did it on an electric board.
He already did it. Guinness World Record.
On an electric board.
Yep. First, I think the only person.
They had electric boards back then?
No, he's like, he's 55 when he did it.
Oh, so when was it?
It was like a couple of years ago, 5 years ago, something like that.
5 years ago. I wonder what board he used, because that's like, the technology in the last 5-6 years have come a long way. I wonder if I could do it quicker than him.
Hey, let's get you out there.
Huh.
I'll share with you what I know from my experience.
I know. Well, give me a couple of no-nos. Something, whatever you did horribly wrong that you think you might do differently if you did it again.
Stretch your feet. Like stretch, because I gave up on it like 2 weeks in or so. Like I was stretching,
right?
And then I was daily vlogging the whole entire time. So I'd skate 10, 12 hours a day, then daily vlog, try to eat. So I had no time.
Right.
I was just exhausted, so I just didn't stretch.
Huh.
My feet still hurt to this day.
Really?
Like plantar fasciitis, Achilles tendonitis. So I would recommend just stretching and icing every single night if you can.
All right. That's a good tip. It's funny because like I got like a new electric board a year ago, and it has like one of those big monster batteries in it, and I just wanted to see around Manhattan how far I can go before this thing totally died. Yeah. And I think I went from like Harlem to like Battery Park, all the way back up to like the tunnel. I don't know how many miles I did, but I did so many miles during that day. At the end of the day, like my calves and my feet.
Yeah.
I wasn't kicking, but you're steering and you're still, moving around. But my calves and my ankles were killing me.
Yeah.
From just standing all day.
I have an electric board. I haven't used it recently, but I remember riding it, like commuting, like going to the train station or something like that. And you don't realize, even though you're not pushing, you're kind of like freezing up your muscles and staying in the same position. And it really does work your calves, like
it does.
Balancing there and holding the position.
I got to say, like, for me, for like an older guy that isn't as athletic as I used to be, it's still a great way to like get around.
100%.
Yeah, because it's like, I don't know, to be able to hop on a skateboard still and go like 20 miles because I'm going somewhere is kind of cool without having to break a sweat.
Exactly. And you get the joy of like, you just be able to press a button, you still get that exhilaration, the adrenaline of going 30 miles an hour. It's actually pretty gnarly. If you step off on that board in traffic, like it's pretty scary.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, definitely.
You could eat it.
You definitely can. I've eaten it once or twice, and it was pretty bad. I do have a one wheel.
Okay.
But it's so dorky.
I need to see you on that.
Dude, I don't know. I got it when it came out, but like, I don't know. I feel like it's just a dorky looking. Yeah.
I've tried
device.
once. It's kind of awkward. You have to get used to it.
I could film on it though. Like I'm good on
really?
it. I could film on it. I could get real low. I get all the shots. But like, it's just, I don't know. Like it's always on kook slams. I feel like that device. It's just.
Yeah, it definitely looks a little funny, but it's cool.
I guess. Yeah. I don't know. There's just such like a stigma with like electric boards and like electric just devices like that.
For sure.
I feel like the core skater looks at an electric board.
Most people in the world don't care about it. It's like this really small group of core skateboarders that are judgmental. Otherwise, it's just a fun thing to ride around.
How do you feel about e-scooters?
Yeah, I get you from point A to point B. It's cool. Skateboard with handlebars.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Just.
You don't have to push on anymore. You're a fan.
Yeah, it's cool. You're right. My feet need the brakes, so.
I guess. I guess it's just fun being out there without having to doing all the work.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's all I got for you today, man. I know this was like very impromptu.
Hey, I had fun, man.
And I appreciate you and JR for coming down.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for having me again, man. I appreciate it.
And where can everybody find you, on social or your handles?
It's just all across Instagram, YouTube. It's just Chad Caruso.
All right.
And then I got a podcast. Should be out this month or next month, December. Feeble-Minded Podcast. Chad Caruso Podcast. I'm not sure what I'm calling it yet. Still in the early stages, but yeah, that'll be out soon.
All right, Chad. Listen, thanks for coming.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
You got it.